All right, folks, we are back on the Steve Malzberg Show, taking your calls live on Newsmax Television. What a great thing, right? 877-NEWSMAX, 877-639-7629. And we're continuing to talk about Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, and Ben Carson. By the way, CNN put out a tweet to the previous caller who called in saying that Ben Carson is not going to South Carolina or New Hampshire. He's going home to Florida after Iowa. And that's almost exactly what it said. Jake Tapper's people put that out. And it implied to many, especially in the Cruz camp who took advantage of it, allegedly, that he was leaving the race somehow. So word got around at the caucuses, and some say it was from Cruz people. I don't know. And they didn't vote for Carson because they thought he was leaving the race. And that's what the whole brouhaha is about that. And Carson's ticked off about it, and Cruz apologized, by the way. All right, back to the phones we go. Marco, I don't think it's Marco Rubio because he's calling from Springfield, Virginia. Hello, Marco. Welcome aboard.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for taking my call. I love your show. I watch it every night.
Thank you.
I've spoken to you a couple of times on WMAL, so you might recognize my voice.
Yes. Well, and you know what? I'm going to be back on WMAL this month a couple of times. But go ahead. I appreciate that's for those who don't know, that's a radio station that talks the talk station in Washington, D.C. Go ahead, Marco.
Yeah. Well, what I'd like to say is, Bernie Sanders keeps talking about free tuition for everybody. So I would like to hear him say free tuition for everyone, and to make sure that we can make payroll, we're going to cut all the professors' salaries by 50%. I'd really like to know what the socialist professors would think about that. And secondly, I've worked as a system administrator, and I can tell you, whoever those system administrators were for Hillary, they should probably be in jail right now because they would have read access to all her emails. And if the movie maker gets imprisoned for something he really didn't do wrong, those administrators should be in prison until they start talking.
So you're talking about the email scandal, and the movie maker you're talking about, I presume, is the filmmaker that Hillary blamed the anti-Muslim film on for Benghazi, correct?
Exactly. But, as an administrator, you have the permission to access anything on that server. So her emails were out there in the open for those people to read. And if they don't have, top secret clearance, they should be in jail right now, and they should be being interrogated.
All right. Marco, I appreciate your call. Thank you very much. Great to hear from you. Spread the word, please. Let's go to Carol from Vienna, Virginia. Now, that's funny because when I am on WMAL radio and someone calls from Vienna, I say, Vienna waits for you, which, of course, is a little Billy Joel song. Hi, Carol. Welcome aboard. That's
Hey.
Your neighbor just called me.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you, too, and I love your show. And I also wanted to tell you, you have a great call screener, a really pleasant guy.
He
nice.
is the most decent man I know. He's amazing.
I can tell. So the reason I'm calling is because I was absolutely disgusted when I heard that Hillary Clinton had declared victory last night. I couldn't believe it. And then I heard about the coin tosses. I mean, it just got worse and worse.
6 coin tosses. Carol, 6 coin tosses. 6.
That is it's almost impossible for her to win all of those, incidentally. I know because I tried. But what I wanted to say is, do you think that she can fake her way through all of the primary contests?
Well, I don't know. Let's not forget, she did not get 50%. She got this a couple of tenths of a point under that. It was a great night for Sanders because Sanders had been down 50 points at one point in the early polls. She could declare victory all she wants. They're just about even in delegates. Bernie Sanders will win New Hampshire, but the problem has always been, what about after that? What about North Carolina? What about the South? I mean, is Bernie Sanders going to be able to resonate there? And that's always been the question, Carol.
I know. I agree with you.
Yeah. Hey,
it's nice talking to you.
Yeah, nice talking to you. I was going to say maybe she'll have a new number, inmate number 1278340. Who knows? Appreciate the call. All right, folks. We have Donald Trump at the podium in Milford, New Hampshire, holding a rally. Let's bring some of that to you right now.
We love you. We love you. Amazing. It's amazing. You know, one of the reporters just asked me, why don't you do town hall meetings? I said, because we have now the equivalent. I don't know if you know, there's another room this size where it's packed also. So we have 5,000 people. And if we do town halls, we'll be doing about 200 a day, and we still won't be able to catch up. But I want to thank everybody, special people, special place. We've had such an incredible journey since, remember, June 16th. Since June 16th, the famous escalator ride. And we just got back from Iowa. And I want to tell you, they're great people in Iowa. And I love them. She says you're better.
Leaders who have stood and led, bringing together and coalescing conservatives here in Iowa and all across the country. You want to know what scares the Washington cartel? Actually, not remotely. I don't scare them in the tiniest bit. What scares them is you. What scares them is that the old Reagan coalition is coming back together of conservatives.
And they said if you get in the top 10, you'd be lucky. And it actually came out the first time, it was like number 10. And then it went to 8, and it went to 5. And we finished number 2. And frankly, had I known we could have finished number 2, maybe I would have spent more time there. I would have taken a day or 2 off from here, but that wouldn't have been good. But you know, it's sort of interesting because I'm very proud of this. I skipped the
Ladies and gentlemen, we're having some trouble with the feed. It's buffering, as they say. So if we get it fixed, we'll go back out there. If not, we'll go on as scheduled with the Malzberg panel with Ford O'Connell and Rick Unger. So I will keep you entertained until that happens. Interesting, Donald Trump saying that, you know, maybe he could have done things differently. Maybe he could have taken a little time less in New Hampshire and spent more time in Iowa. And as I said, he held a press conference prior to this event in Milford, New Hampshire, at the same location, but in a different room, obviously. And he addressed the various questions surrounding the finish in Iowa. And he did concede that quite possibly skipping the debate might have cost him some votes in Iowa. I'm sorry? Oh, okay. I'm not hearing what you're saying. But do we have Donald Trump back? Sure. We could take some calls at 1-877-NEWSMAX if there are still people out there. The second caller segment ended, but hey, you know, we just adapt on the fly, as they say. But anyway, but he does not. At the same time that he said skipping the debate in Iowa to hold his rally for the veterans last week might have cost him Iowa, he did not regret doing it. So that's interesting. Both of those statements are pretty interesting. And there's going to be lots of speculation. Look, if Donald Trump somehow doesn't win New Hampshire, and I think he will, skipping the debate, whether it's the reason or not, will go down as one of the greatest political blunders of all time, I think. Okay? Because if suddenly, again, I think he's going to win New Hampshire comfortably. But if he were to lose New Hampshire, if either somehow Cruz had a better showing than expected and Rubio skyrocketed and pole vaulted over Trump or something, I just think that then obviously that would have been a direct result of not winning Iowa. And I think skipping the debate, whether it was the reason or not, will be viewed as a very big mistake. All right, let's get back to the phones, 877-NEWSMAX, 877-639-7629. And we'll pick up with our panel in the next segment. We're still having problems with the feed from Donald Trump's rally. I'm sorry. Let's go to Rod from Port Charlotte, Florida. Hello, Rod. Thanks for weighing in, sir.
Hi, Ed. How are you?
It's Steve, but that's okay. I've been called a lot worse.
I'm sorry, Steve.
That's okay. I love Ed Berliner. Go ahead.
I don't know why.
That's all right.
I'd like to speak to you about, to the public, really, about Donald Trump. To speak of Donald Trump, he's a successful businessman. He has done a lot of things. He's made his money. These other politicians that we have in the establishment basically make their living on a mouthpiece from taxable income. We need somebody in there that will stand up, knows how to run a business, and basically knows how to work both sides. This man, as he speaks of Nancy Pelosi, that doesn't mean he loves their programs, but it means he can work with them, unlike Ted Cruz, who is pretty much establishment, dislikes him all the way through.
Okay, but let me ask you, Rod, do you want him to work with Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid and Chuck Schumer? Is there any commonality between a true conservative Republican? I mean, in the minds of many, and I'll ask you your opinion on this, do you feel that the spending bill that was cut with Paul Ryan, the new speaker, and Obama, do you think that was a good thing?
Terribly. It was not a good deal, but here's the way the country has to work. You can't have gridlock. There's no such thing as a one-party system. You have to work across the table. I mean, you can't just lock your feet in and say nothing's going to get done. If you can't work with different parties, which Donald Trump can.
Yep.
He can smile at you, agree with you, but not promote your program.
All right, fair enough, Rod. I appreciate it.
In there.
Rod, thank you very much. Good points, and I appreciate your call. Let's go to Bill in Reeves, Louisiana. Hello, Bill. You're on with Steve Malzberg on Newsmax Television.
Yes.
Now, Billy. Hi, Billy.
Yes. Hi.
I'm glad you called. What can I do for you?
Well, I'm just listening to the news, and if it is true that a rumor was spread that Carson was out of the race, then to make it right, why don't they have the race over between the two top, well, especially between Cruz and Marco Rubio and Carson? Because Carson got over 3,000 votes. And I don't think it's fair that he not have a chance if the rumor was spread that he quit.
Well,
And
you know,
it's went to Coons.
Billy, I guess it's kind of hard to do something like that over. It's never been done before, certainly to that magnitude, and I just don't think it's possible. I just think this is politics. I'm not saying Ted Cruz had anything to do with this, and I don't even know what staff members, if any, had anything to do with it. But there was an accusation by Carson. There was an apology, I believe, from Ted Cruz, and that's where it's got to stay. It's unfortunate, but again, this was started by a CNN report and a tweet. Now, I heard Jake Tapper say, we never said that, but if you read the tweet, as I did, it could certainly be taken to mean and be interpreted that Carson's going home. He's not going to Iowa. He's not going to New Hampshire, and he's not going to South Carolina. But that's not how it should have been. Okay, I appreciate it. We're coming back with the panel, folks. Don't go away.